we've had Richard Dawkins on the show. We've had Norman Borlaug on the show, and this is my biggest hero. So everything I said about Borlaug and about Dawkins, you can just amplify for how I feel about Randi. James Randi is here. Go to randi.org. That's where you want to start. And being a magician, as you started as a magician, it really interests me that Houdini was a very strong skeptic. Although the new book out, of course, we can't claim Houdini as an atheist. He certainly was a believer. And the new book, have you read the new book, the Salome?
I have seen most of it. I haven't had a chance to sit down and read it studiously. But the major premise about him being a spy and such, I can't accept. The reason I can't accept is because I know the character of Houdini. He was dead before I was born. Mm-hmm. He died in 26. I was born in 28, so I didn't have a chance to meet him. Damn. But the point is, he wrote and told everybody everything. He was a blabbermouth. We have all of his letters. We have all of his personal records and such, mm-hmm. all of his notes, and nowhere is anything like this mentioned. And he certainly would have put it in his confidential notes.
Mm-hmm. But the definition of spy then was very, very different.
Well, that's true too.
But it wasn't a James Bond thing.
No.
It was more like you're going to be in Germany. Tell us where the shipyard is.
Yeah, look around. Yeah.
So, they have some pretty good points. But the part that I had always considered Houdini when he was saying, "If anyone can come back from the dead, I will."
Yeah.
To be a statement much like, "If anybody can swim the ocean, it'll be me." Kind of very clearly, this is impossible, but if anybody can do it, I will. But they seem to think, from a lot of the writings, that he believed in a life after death and did not believe in communication between the two. Do you have an opinion on that?
Well, certainly he was disappointed in his efforts, which I don't know how sincere the efforts were after his mother died. He was a mama's boy. There's no question of it. And I'm not detracting from the man's character at all. But he was a mama's boy.
And so am I.
There you go. And but his mother died. It was a terrible psychic shock to him. And I say psychic shock, I don't mean psychics, right? Okay. But it was a mental shock, an emotional shock to him. And I have an idea that he probably looked around a certain amount among the spiritualists of the day, and they were very popular in his day and thriving all over the country and all over the world, to see whether there might be any evidence there, anything he could use. And, of course, he was immediately disappointed and continually disappointed, the most famous thing being, of course, when his mother came back and spoke English, he had a difference with that because she had never spoken any English at all.
But there's good Berlitz classes in the afterlife.
There you are, yes. But, of course, the excuse on that was, as you probably know, Penn, the excuse was that in heaven, everyone speaks English, which we would expect to be true, of course, yeah.
Now, there also was a cross at the top of the letter, too, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah, well, you're talking about the Arthur Conan Doyle thing.
Yeah. There was also a cross on the automatic writing.
Well, this is an automatic writing thing that Arthur Conan Doyle's wife did. What a family this was. The Conan Doyles were weird folks.
Well, yeah, they very, very, very strange and very gullible, and probably very, very damaged by the death of their son. I mean, probably,
Raymond. That was a terrible shock to Arthur Conan Doyle, no question of it. But he really went off the deep end. A man who was supposed to be so logical, he invented the Sherlock Holmes character. That's ridiculous. Sherlock Holmes was the most logical detective in history, fictional I'm speaking about now, in fact, super logical, but Conan Doyle had none of that.
Well, didn't he? But he also expected Sherlock Holmes to be considered somewhat of a parody, didn't he? He wasn't as behind Sherlock Holmes as some of the fans are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I think that's true, too, yeah.
But what I wonder about is when I get into magic until when I first started working, one of the big shocks I found was the magicians who would defend psychics as being just another kind of magician, and also, and more surprisingly, and I guess I can use his name. He would claim it. He wouldn't deny it. But Jeff McBride and that school of magic, and Jeff McBride is a friend of mine and a good guy. But part of his love of magic is trickery, is also the love of the kind of spiritual side of it. And although he does nothing, nothing charlatan, he does nothing immoral.
No.
There is a sense with him of this kind of, we get in touch with the real magic because we also do the fake magic.
Yeah.
And that seems so odd because my love of magic was always the trickery, and where that came from. When you first started, I guess it was PsyCop and the organizations, the Committee for the Scientific Investigation of Claims of the Paranormal. Did you have a different reaction from magicians than you expected?
Yeah, I did. I was rather surprised. Doug Henning, of course, from the very beginning was a woo-woo artist. He believed in everything, anything and everything. And I never questioned about astrology or any such hard pseudoscience.
But he believed he could float, did he not?
Oh yeah, he wrote me 2 letters in his life, and one of them says so poignantly that he's working on levitation, and Randy, you'll be the first one that I'll invite to see it when I get it perfected. And of course, I never heard from him back on the subject.
You were.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
But Doug Henning believed in everything, and it's also arguable, isn't it, that it certainly didn't keep him healthy longer, whether that led to his death, but it certainly kept him a little bit away from traditional medicine that might have helped him.
It certainly did. He was very dependent on this, and we know that the Maharishi's people had tried to get him to do meditating all day long. When he had medical help that was available, he had a condition that was treatable, and he veered away from that because he wanted to do it by the old Ayurvedic medicines.
I don't know what that is.
Well, that deals with all kinds of black and red biles that you have in your body and yellow biles and various other things. It's total, what's the expression?
I think it's bull's
hit. Yes, I believe it
correct,
is. Yes.
All that stuff. Now, you have had, and it's very controversial, a $1 million prize to anyone that can prove a supernatural claim. Is that right?
It's not my personal money, by the way, just in case you're wondering. No, I don't have $1 million, but the foundation that I represent does have $1 million.
And you have that in escrow, is that right?
I do.
So the $1 million, those people who claim that the money isn't there, what do you say to them?
All they have to do is get a hold of us by any means, telephone, fax, telepathy, tarot cards. They can phone in. They can do anything you want. Send us email, and we will send them a copy from Goldman Sachs of the current state of the account. I believe at the moment it's $1,095,000. So their interest is being paid on it. And we take the interest off the top every now and then to help support the foundation, but it's always a minimum of $1 million.
And you can go to randi.org and find out all about that prize because, if you can prove this to Randy,
to Randy, if you can prove it, period, to an independent authority.
Okay, to an independent authority. If you can prove that, the $1 million is just the tip of the iceberg.
That's right.
You pretty much got a Nobel Prize handed to you, right?
Exactly.
I mean, anybody that overturns that big a breakthrough in physics would give you not only the $1 million, but also incredible acclaim in every single thing. And I think that I know you well enough that you'd be pleased as punch to give that $1 million away.
I would, simply, Penn, because it would mean you're paying $1 million to develop a secret about the universe that was hitherto unknown, something brand new. To prove that there is life after death, or that people can do telepathy or can predict the future, any of these things that these woo-woo artists claim, would be such a breakthrough. It would revolutionize everything we know about the real world, and that would be worth it.
And you have people not get very far in trying, but about how many people do you have try for this in a year?
We've had several hundred over the years, and again, that seems like a simple figure to give you. We've got file drawers just full of the applications, but most people don't go any further than just making the first inquiry, and they can't follow instructions. Penn, you have no idea the stuff we get.
Is that number 2 pencil?
No, what they do. We ask that they send us 2 paragraphs outlining the claim that they're making, that something they think it can do. Now, in 2 paragraphs, even long paragraphs, yes, you should be able to do that. But they do 30 and 40 pages of crabbed handwriting on both sides, and we had to sit there and try to figure it out. Now we've gotten to a point where we simply send it back, and now we're also making big changes in the $1 Million Prize.